Hi, Internet viewers. Frank Rauscher again. We are marching on with the bunting, and what I want to try to do is, on my last video, I said that we were going to get the body shaped out and the wings, and I didn't go after the wings, and I just want to clarify that. But we're going to do the wings later. I'm going to go for the head this time out, and I'm going to give you details on how we do that. And I just want to go back in on the blank itself, as far as we did get the center line in for the body. We got the center line in for the head right here. And if you can extend this down, and what I mean by that is I'm going to look at, when you're looking straight in, you have definitely, this is your center line of the head, and this center line should come right through the tip of the beak and down here. And what I'm looking for, so that you have an idea, when you're looking straight in, if you put your ruler up and it's on edge with that center line, it should go to the bottom, and you can draw that edge too. So you have that center line slicing right through the head from top to bottom. So you would just, you can eyeball the bottom and then reinforce it by looking at the top and looking at the bottom and see if it's always on this edge, and doing it that way. So that's what I want to try to get you to do too. The other thing, I hope that you would come in, and where this side and this side of the face are fairly smooth, you know what I mean? Not bumpy or anything else like that. We came up from the bottom and we swung up, and we remember we were hitting these points out here, the pencil lines on both sides. That was, I believe, 7/16 from the center out. So our cheek, when we go to develop it, is going to be from the center out 7/16 on both sides, okay? And then we'll have an inner one, but that's, as we go, you'll see how that works. But I need this center line to come through so that you have it top and bottom. And that really helps, okay? And if you could do that. And like I said, the surface wants to sort of be flat somewhat, because I want you to draw on this. We're going to draw, especially on this side. I usually do with the bird facing to our left, okay? I'm going to draw on that side. You'll see as I go here. And then what we'll do is we'll transfer from this side to this side. And that gets a little tricky, but I'll show you how to do that too. And we'll go on from there, okay? A couple other things I was asked along the way here. Whoever has my catalog, I don't have the bunting listed in there yet, but I have to update it. There are going to be several other updates I have. I have several different owls. Somebody had asked me for patterns I had for owls. So if anybody needs any, or even kits, I have kits and I have patterns for the great horned owl, the saw-whet owl, the screech owl, the hawk owl, and I forget what the other one was now. I got so many owls. Now, what you got to understand is, like we did with the great horned owl, we only did it about 8 inches long. Now, in essence, so it's only about, I think it's a quarter of what the real owl is. The screech owl is full size. The hawk owl and the saw-whet owl are, I believe, half scale. if I remember correctly. I'm taking this off the top of my head. I don't make owls real big. I mean, owls can be really big. I mean, like most of the birds I do, if you notice, you could stick these on the mantle. And when you get into doing a full-size owl, you've got a lot of work on your hands. So I minimize big birds by doing half scale or something like that. So that's me. But some people like them big, you know. So you just if you ever wanted to explode some of mine, you can just put them on a printer and increase them to the size that you want. Okay, and in most bird books, they give you the length. It's from head to tail. Okay, generally, and you can determine their length. Okay, usually on a songbird, most of the measurements, and I'm going to try to give you information in this respect, the measurement is from here to the tail on a straight line basis is usually the length of a bird, but that's not in every case, but almost every case. So, most of the patterns I have, I try to give them to you full size. Sometimes I scale down. So, and I've done that with birds with their wings out. I've done like eagles that are only about 12 inches long. I've done red-tailed hawks that have their wings completely out, like they're flying in space. And I do that one. I think that's 11 inches long from tip the wing to tip the wing. So that I change things to suit what would fit on a shelf or a mantle or something like that, you know. And for those who would ever be interested, I have I want to say great horned owl. No, an eagle that's in flight. It's got its wings out, and each wing is individual, and it gets plugged in, and the body's separate. It's one piece. The wing is separate, and on both sides, and the tail is separate. Okay, and I started this project a long time ago. Actually, one of my students did it, and then I've added on. I'd say most of the wings are done and carved. The body needs work, and the tail needs to be done. And it's in 3 pieces. I would say it's about 3/4 scale. I have all the paperwork to do the whole thing. I have the patterns and everything else. If anybody's interested, I'm looking to try to move that because I don't think I'll ever get around to doing it anymore. But it's really well done, and if somebody is interested in maybe wanting to get into trying that, it's already started, so you would have to finish it. There's work in there, let me tell you, but the wings are all shaped and everything else. So I could take pictures and send them to you. I also have full-size patterns for the eagle, if anybody's interested in that. I'm trying to sell those patterns as well, and they're big sheets. So if anybody is interested, if you want to contact me through my email, and that's Rauscher, RAUSCHER, Frank, FRANK, 7@gmail.com. You can also get that in the description of my videos here. My email is always attached there as well. So if you want to contact me on that, I have them available. I only have one of each. So as far as if somebody wants to pursue the eagle, and it's pretty well established on the wings. They're really well done. They've been burnt and textured. Not every one of them, but almost everything. And then the tail has to be developed, and the body has to, the shape's there and everything else. You just have to bring it home with detail. I have that available too. So I'm mentioning that out to you. So if anybody's interested, contact me. I'll give you a pricing on what I think it's worth. And if you're interested, we can make a deal. So just want to let you know that. I also, for the bird we're doing, the bunting, I have kits on that, and I am going to expand on my kit list as far as with the owls go. I don't know if I even had the flicker on there. The flicker I had done probably the last class before the virus hit, and that's a pretty good sized bird too. So if I'm going to try to put the ones I've done in there so you can have a chance to get either the patterns or the kits or something like that, I can make them available to you. So please contact me, and we'll see where we go from there, okay? So I'm going to stop talking so we can get to the bunting here, and we're going to devote ourselves to the head mainly, okay? So hang on, and I'll bring the camera down, and then you can follow me. Okay. If you see some blue tape around here, somebody had given me an idea that if I stay focused within this area, that I won't go out of camera range. And I hope I'm in camera range with all of this, because some people have mentioned that I've done that, and I know that. So this is something to try to define me to stay in a certain area. And I will try to keep on doing that for you guys, and try to remember where I'm at. Now, what I'm going to do, as I had mentioned before, in the front part of this video, we have our center line for the head, which, if you were measuring, was 7/16 out from the center on both sides, okay? And you need that width, okay, even before we even start narrowing this down. So you should all have this out. When we cleaned this up originally in here, I wanted you to take everything away from that edge that we had, that channel edge, and bring it up, straight up to that 7/16. And then when you come out to the beak, I don't want you taking anything off of the beak, but I want you to, if I get my ruler and lay it there, it's almost like a straight line from the 7/16 out to the tip of the beak, okay? And that way you'll still have material before the beak line that I had stated, and same way on the other side. And this is the same thing here. You're coming almost straight up when you get to this point here, okay? You don't want to go under the line. You don't want to be less than that. You're trying to just get right up to that, but you can see there's some white before the edge on both sides. So, and I'd like this nice and flat and smooth in here, in the same way here somewhat. Not perfectly, but so what we're going to establish first on my pattern, and I'm hoping this is in the scope of things, it should be, if I did it right, is that we are going to establish what they call a beak line. And the beak line goes right through the beak, and it's also off of that we're going to locate the eyes, the top of the head, to make sure we got plenty of room in there, the cheek, which comes down below, we're going to locate from the tip of the beak in to the eye, and then to the end of the cheek area. So, but the first thing we need to do is we have to establish the beak line. Everything gets built off of that line. So I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to put my optivisors on, which is my magnifiers. And if anybody's interested in them, I have them available, because I know as time goes on, I always need additional magnification. It helps. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to put, let's see if I got this wrong. Yeah. I'm going to come in and put a dot right on the tip of the beak here. So that is my beak mark right there, and that wedge right in the middle. Now, I want to come straight back, and you're going to say, well, how far back do I want to come? So I'm going to say, if you go to the top of the head here before it starts turning downward, and you come up here and you lay a ruler at the very top, flat against the surface, and measure down. Let's see if I did this right. I hope so. I'm going to say, yeah, 7/16. So I'm going to measure from the top, the outside here. I'm going to measure down 7/16. And for some odd reason, it looks like it wants to get lower than that, but we'll take 7/16. So I put a dot there. Now, from this dot to that dot, I want to try to, I'm going to move my sheet so that this doesn't go sliding on me as much. It acts as like a third hand. And I'm going to line my ruler up with the tip of the beak and that dot of 7/16. And I'm going to run a line straight through it. Okay, so I have a tip of the beak, 7/16 down, and I come back. Okay, now once I get that established, then the next thing I want to bring into the picture here is I want to start picking off parts here. So the length of the beak in profile now, that means with this straight up and down, and you lay the blank down, but if you're straight up and down here, you're in profile. I want you to measure, and I'm not laying the beak down, the ruler down this way. I'm holding it up because you have like a high spot right in here. I want you to measure from the tip of the beak in 3/8. Okay, so I'm going to go from the tip to here and put a dot, and that is 3/8. Okay, so I have a dot there, and that's this first measurement right here. Then from that dot, I'm going to ask you to come in again, and we're going to put 1/4 of an inch back from that dot. So we got 3/8 from here to here. I hope I didn't say 3/16. And then from that one, we're going 1/4 of an inch back, and we'll put one right here. Now, what I want you to do at that location is get your ruler with one of the inch hash marks, line that up with that beak line, and draw me a perpendicular line going up. So we have crosshairs right at that point. So it's 3/8 and then 1/4 of an inch. Now, at this point, we look at where the eye is supposed to be located, and the eye is 1/8 inch up on that line. So I measure up 1/8 of an inch, and I do another perpendicular line right at that spot. Okay, boy, that's, now, here's the thing. This beak line and this line should be parallel. And you can see I didn't do that good of a job, so I'm going to erase that. I'm going to try to draw a straight line through, which is here, right through this 1/8 inch one right here, and make it 1/8 inch up, paralleling the beak line. Now, let me erase a little bit. That it's getting heavy. I'm going to come right in here. Let me get some lead out. I'm going to come in here. Now it's 1/8 inch up. Now, the eye we're putting in here is a 4mm eye. So what we're going to draw is we're going to come up 2mm. I'm going to do this by eye, but later on we'll do it a little more perfect. So I have something like that. I hit all 4 lines around it, and then I make like quarter circles to make a whole one. And you come around, and we got the eye in there now, okay? And just to check yourself out, you should have, if I did it right, about 3/8 up to the eye. So let me see if my measurements are all correct. You have the beak line is 3/8 in, and the eye is another quarter, and we come up 1/8 of an inch. So now we're starting to accrue different things down the line here. Now, back on my sheet here, I have 7/16 from the eye coming back. So if I extend this line right here, which is paralleling the beak line, then I can measure right along that line, and you can lay a ruler right there. 7/16. I put a dot right there. Now, you see this perpendicular line? I need to do a perpendicular line to the beak line. So I'm going to draw this. I'm doing this freehand, but you can actually lay the ruler in there and make sure that you're perpendicular. Okay? Now that we have, what we're trying to do is a rectangle here. And I'm going to show you now on from the beak line down, it's, I think that wasn't right that I have here. Let me see what I have here. Trying to remember. Yeah, it is right. It's 7/16. So I'm going to, from the beak line right here, I'm going to measure down 7/16 along this vertical line and put a dot. So I'll extend that line down. Just trying to check myself out here, because I like to keep everything right on target. Yep. Now, so we came down from here to here, 7/16. Now I'm going to make a parallel line, or you can measure down from here to here, 7/16 from the beak line down, and then make a parallel line to the beak line. So I can draw pretty freely with that. For some odd reason, I'm looking at this, and I'm going to check one I already did ahead of time just to make sure that the numbers I'm giving you, they are correct. Okay, just seems deeper. And I'll bet you I know what I did here. Let's see. Yeah, that's what I made a mistake here. I see what I did. It is, I did it wrong. Yep. Bear with me 1 second. I'm giving you erroneous information. So let me just check here. I see what I did wrong. It is, let's see. It's 7/16 from the eye. That's where I made my mistake. I'm sorry. So from the eye down, 7/16. I knew it looked too big. So from the eye center line up here, down to here, it's 7/16. So I'm going to erase this out. I knew that just didn't look right. Now I'm going to make a parallel line over here, following the beak line. Just like that. That's it now. Now that looks better. Okay. Now, I'm going to create this here. I hope you can see this. See this cheek here? I call this the cheek right in here. It's not the professional name of it. It probably has a, I got to find out. I say this all the time and never do it. Find out what the real name of this area is on the bird, but I call it my cheek line coming around. So I'm going to create that. Now, here's how I do it. I'm coming off the center line of the eye, and I'm rolling this. Like this is a tangent point from here to here. So I'm coming down. I touch this line, and then I come off of it again. It's almost like making a circle back here, okay? Then I come around, and I touch this line that's 7/16 from the center line of the eye down. That's this line right here. Now, I want to come up to this point and not follow this line and then go up. Before you get to this vertical line going through the eye, you want to be up. I'm going to draw it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. I want to come up and touch that right there. So this is almost 1/8 of an inch up is when you're crossing this line. So you can see how this is set up. Okay. Now, we have the eye located, the cheek located. Now what I want to do is we want to go to the front here, and where we drew the beak in here, like this and like this in the beginning, I want you to come off of this point on a 45 degree this way, like this. Draw a 45 this way and a 45 this way. Okay? Just like that. Now, once you hit this wall here, I'm going to ask you to come around and turn and then drop in to that point right there. And that measurement in was 3/8. Remember, from the tip of the beak in, that's 3/8. So you're doing this. So it comes from here on a 45-degree angle. If you trimmed all this up and it's pretty flat, you'll come around off of that corner, then bend it and turn it down in. Okay? Now, that's a portion of the beak, okay, as we need. We're still going to refine a lot of the beak. So there's another part of the beak, which is we have like a backward C. So I'm going to come right at this point again, which is 3/8 in, and I'm going to draw a backward C, which comes out and down about 1/8 of an inch, because the bottom of this beak is about 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to ask you to come out and make a C that is 1/8 of an inch from here straight down to here. So it's from here to here, and it's a backward C. And then I'm going to ask you, you have this beak line, I'm going to ask you to parallel that out to this edge right there, okay? Just like that. Now you can almost see the beak sort of has some shape, okay? Now, I'm going to, this is where I can lose some of you, but I'm going to try to give you the best I can do to accomplish. See this beak line here? And I'm going to heavy this up just a little bit more so you can see it. I need to bring this to the other side, and that's not the easiest thing going. What I really want to do when you're looking down on this front of this blank, I want a line that goes straight across. And you see this center line that we have coming through here, and then it comes straight down on this side. And I said before, I mentioned to you that if you lay your ruler, the edge of it is running at the top along this line and also at the bottom, so that you are perpendicular to this beak line, okay? Now, I'm trying to get you to put this on the other side here, and what we want is a crosshairs, like right where the tip of the beak is. You got a line going right through it this way and a line right going through it this way, and it's crosshairs right there, right at the tip of that beak. So here's the best thing I do. I'm going to eyeball this and try to imagine what is straight across. I'm putting a little dot right there. I have the tip of the beak right here, right there, and I got this dot back here, and I'm going to draw a real light line. So I'm going to take it from here, and I would say lay the ruler down and do it. I'm going to do it freehand because I'm pretty good in drawing straight lines most of the time. So what I'm trying to do is hit that peak. I didn't do that good of a job, see? Didn't come right to the point, right through there. Now, I want to look down, and one way you can define this is if you got your inch mark, one of the hash marks, and you lay that right on the center line, the vertical center line going through the head, and you bring that up to that horizontal line, that the edge of the ruler and your line is all going in the same direction. you're in good shape then, okay? You got perfectly quadrants of 90 degrees on each one. So you need to get this line exactly the same on the other side, and you end up with a crosshair, okay? Your beak is coming right to a point right here, and it's graduating back, and it does these things here. Comes off, down, around, and it does the same thing over here. And then you had that little C that we drew back there. I'm looking straight in. And then what we're going to do is draw a line across. So you got the tip of the beak right here, but this line and this line, as you're looking straight in on that beak, is got to be 90 degrees from here to here, here to here, here to here, and here to here. So you need to get this established. And it's a little tricky, and I'll grant you that. But once you get it there, then we can extend this back, okay? And again, we make sure that you're right on the tip coming in. Now that we have that, we have some other problems we need to resolve. And the first thing is, we know that we said that the beak was 3/8 of an inch long. Now, I'm going to ask you to get your bird in the profile position, which means that this tail is straight up and down, okay? And once you have it that way, you go from the tip of the beak in, and you're holding your ruler parallel to the table. I'm going to try to give you another dimension besides this, but I'm going to try to do this way, and it is 3/8 in. So let me see how I can do this properly. I put a dot right there. It's supposed to be 3/8 in. I can't hold this and draw at the same time. Let me just check myself out. I'm perpendicular. I'm straight up and down. I come back, and I'm a little off, so I got to move that point. This is the trickiness where you almost need another hand sometime in doing this. And it gets a little bit distorted too. So I'm going to try to see if I can iron you out here with this. I'm going to see. Yeah. We have I measured this way, 3/8 in profile. So if I try to measure a measurement from the tip of the beak to here as a flat dimension, I'm going to give you about almost a 1/2 inch back, okay? That's from the tip of the beak back to this line. It really isn't that. I want it back 3/8, but it's going to look like a 1/2 inch if you measured it from here to here. So I'm going to get you to start that. So we're in it gets distorted because the heads turn, and that's what I'm trying to make sure. And again, the only way I could describe it is that if this edge is squared up to the table, you're in profile. Then you got to lay your ruler not down, but out in outer space here. you're like holding it up at the top, trying to be parallel to my table, and you measure 3/8 of an inch back, and that's where you put the dot. But if you had to measure it on a flat, I'd say measure from the tip of the beak to there. That would measure about 1/2 inch, okay? So it gets distorted a little bit. So try that. Now, from that dot, again, in profile, I want to measure back from that dot 1/4 of an inch. So you can see the ruler isn't bending down. It's flat to the table. I come in and I put a dot right there. That would be the center line of the eye, because it's 3/8 for the beak and then 1/4 for the eye. So I'm going to do a perpendicular line, and I'm going to check myself out after I draw this one in. Okay, so I'll put an inch mark there. Yeah, it looks pretty perpendicular. So I'm going to draw this up. Okay. Now, if I did that correctly, let's see what I have here. I want it, yeah. I'm saying from the center line where the eye is going to get located up to the top of the head, you need at least 7/16. So from that dot to the top of the head, you at least need 7/16. So I'm coming in here, and that's exactly what I got. I'm 7/16 from here up to there. Now we could come up, and I'm going to come up 1/8 of an inch, because off of the beak line, and I got to fix this, that is not to the beak line. For those who have a pattern, the beak line is this one here. It goes right through the beak. So I'm going to ask you to get your arrow down to that beak line. Okay, that is your beak line. So I'm saying from the beak line up is 1/8 of an inch. I have a couple corrections that I want you to make on this pattern, and I think I published it just a little too soon, and that was my mistake. So I'm going to come up 1/8 of an inch here off of this line and do another perpendicular line. And because it's a 4mm eye, I'm going to come up about 2 millimeters, 2 millimeters out from the center here, and 2 millimeters out from the center here, and 2 millimeters from the center. Then what I'm going to do is connect each point to make a circle. Okay. And that will locate the eye. Maybe. A lot of times these eyes aren't exactly right. We will come back and definitely correct that. Now, from here, we want to try to do the cheek, and the cheek is 7/16 back. So again, holding the bird in profile, I'm going to measure back, and notice I'm not laying it down. I'm holding this up so it's flat with the table, and I'm measuring back 7/16, put a dot. So from here to here, not as a lay down, but if I gave you a lay down dimension, it would be about 1/2 inch from the center of the eye back. Okay, then we draw another perpendicular line on that dot. Okay, We also have the eye, which is 1/8 of an inch up. I'm going to drag that line back so that I have 1/8 inch back here. Now, to complete the cheek, this here, we want from here, and I got to change that. It comes out to 5/16 is what you should have here. From the beak line down, if it were from the eye center line down, it would be 7/16. Okay, so from the beak line down, you want to come 5/16. Now, on the other side, I told you it was 7/16 from the eye center line. So just trying to clarify here that it is 7/16 from the eye center line. So here we go. I'm going to come in here and measure down and put a dot. So from the eye center line down, it's 7/16. From the beak center line down, it's 5/16. Excuse me. Now, I'm going to draw a parallel line, or you can measure down 5/16 from here on the beak line and draw a rectangle. See, it's this here we just drew. Now, what I want to do is complete the cheek on this side. So I'm coming in here and I'm turning. This will be a tangent point. Then I'm turning again. So I'm almost doing like a half circle. Then I come around, and before, I don't want to stay on this line. I want to come up. By the time I get to the eye center line, I'm about 1/8 of an inch up. So this comes up like this, and it hits that beak point right there. So this is now your new cheek area. And then what I try to do is compare where I am from one side to the other. The same way with the eye. This gets a little tricky. I'm going to run the center line up to the top of the head. As it gets up here, I get a point over here. I'm going to try to draw a perpendicular line from that edge going right across, just to see if my eyes are lined up. Sometimes they walk on you. I'm going to draw a light line across like that. So this is, I don't know how perpendicular that is. Let me do that again. Yeah, everything's moving. It's almost like you need a third hand here. But I'm going across here. Okay. And then when you get this line coming across, this should go straight down. And if we did it right, it goes right through the eye center line over here. Okay, so we know our eyes are now lined up on either side. You don't want to have one forward, one back. So this is like a check on that. Okay, this is, you don't need these lines here, but I put them in just so I guarantee that this side and that side are the same. Okay, so if we can establish that, that would be great. Now we're doing really good here. And I'm trying to see where we are on time here so that I don't overwhelm you. I'm going to do a little more in this face, but I think I may split this up into maybe another video. But let me show you what I want to achieve yet. From this tip of this beak, the beak is not straight across. It isn't a straight line like we see here. The beak is going to do this. You're going to take it from here. You're going to come up off the beak very slightly, and you're going to put like a little little bit of a rise, just a little one, and then you're going to come down just below the beak, very little. So the beak has a little bit of an arc to it, okay, very little. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Oh, I didn't even draw this side yet. Here, remember, we came off on a 45-degree angle here onto that drop, and then that has to go like this. It's going to come off of that edge, turn, and then come down right there. Now, I need, at this point, sorry about that interruption there. The last thing I was trying to show you, and I sort of got sidetracked here with my video. So I'm saying that once we came off on a 45-degree angle, we come around and drop down into that, I think it was 3/8 back, okay, as the crow flies. If it's a lay down, I think it was like almost a 1/2 inch or something like that to there. Now, we made a C about 1/8 of an inch down from where it started, coming back on itself. Now, at this point, I'm going to ask you to go straight across, paralleling the beak line. And what we'll do is we'll join up with this one to the other one we have on the other side. So you'll have a line coming across here, okay? Now, just for the sake of time and everything else, oh yeah, and the other thing, as I did on the other side, we are going to come off of this beak ever so slightly off of that line, just a little above it, about the thickness of that line. And then we're coming over and we're sliding just below the tip of the beak here, okay? So it has a little bit of an arc. And if you're looking straight in on it, it'll have like a little bit of a smile, like a little swing this way to the point and this way to the tip of the beak here too. So if you can accomplish this markings, that'll be great. And then what I'll do on the next video, because it gets really lengthy and I don't want to give you everything all at once, because videos can get really long and I don't want to impose on you for the length of the time. So I'm going to break it up a little bit here. So if you could bear with me, I'd appreciate that. And that would be great. Now, the other thing I would say to you, if anybody wants any of these, please contact me through my email address. And I have kits. I have the pattern, the feet, the eyes that all go with this. I do have a catalog that lists all my stuff. And if you need that, it's about a 6-page catalog. It doesn't carry everything I have, but if there's something you need or you're looking for some advice, I'll gladly do it, okay? And I appreciate any comments that you guys make, you know, for the good or the bad, just like this framework here. I'm going to try to stay inside this blue taping so that I don't go out of camera, and I do that once in a while. But if I felt as though you were going to lose a whole lot, I would redo the tape, okay? And if it gets that bad, tell me, and I'll do that again, okay, as a repeat. But I want to try to whatever ideas you have or anything else like that. I really appreciate that. That really helps for feedback. And like I said, if you need anything, definitely contact me through my email address, and I will email it out to you in my catalog, so you don't have to worry about it. It'll get right to you. I am going to be adding, and I may have stated on the front end of this video, more birds in my list of kits and stuff like that. I had one gentleman that was looking for owl patterns, and I really haven't published any of them, but I can make kits on any of them. I have about 5 different owls. I have a great horned owl, a screech owl, hawk owl, soulwood owl. There's quite a bit. And what I've done is I've reduced the size, and I may have stated this. I'm like repeating myself here. So the other thing I want to say too, for all the mothers out there, I want to wish you guys, you ladies, happy Mother's Day. And if you do get a chance, in my videos, I have a short for mothers, okay? And if you get a chance, visit that, and I'll show you, you'll see some of my carvings other than birds. Some of them are, and some of them are animals with their babies. So if you would do that, that'd be great too. You know, I just want to send something out there to the mothers that, hey, we're thinking of you too. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you could subscribe to my channel, I'd appreciate that greatly. On the next video, we will start bringing all this out, okay? And it will look like something like this when we get done. I've already worked on this one just to get ahead of you so I know what I'm doing here, because it's been a while since I've done this. And for those who are seeing this maybe for the first time, here's the bird we're doing, okay? I'm trying to hold this up so that you can see inward there. But it's a real pretty bird. So I think you'll enjoy doing this one. And it's see you on the next video. And again, I hope you enjoyed what you got. And if you could pass my information on, that would be great too. It helps in the count for my YouTube channel. So thanks again, and we'll see you on the next video.